Okay, now that we've got the toe stop base drawn in isometric with the counter bore, the countersink, and the through hole, there's one more step that we need to do, and that's constructing the slots in the isometric view. I'm going to pull over the worksheet that I have here, and it actually shows the isometric that we've got. We're going to actually do this little cutout slot here with the hidden holes. And there's one more step that I want to do. This picture doesn't show it, but this hole, I believe, you can actually see through to the other side. So we will check that out and see if we can do that. Let's start with this hole just to see if we can see through it. So I'm going to go over to this view of that same base, and I'm going to take a linear dimension. So the hole starts at this surface that we were looking at in isometric, and I actually can see that through hole coming through here with that countersink. So I'm going to take a dimension from here to here, just pull that out. Got 2.75, so I'll come back to my drawing, and I'm going to do the copy command and take this guy back a distance of 2.75, and it just barely peeks through. I trimmed it out, but you can see it just barely peeks through, but we do see it. So that was the smaller diameter of the countersink. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is, looking at this little help sheet here, I'm going to bring this up 0.25 and over 0.50 to get this little cutout here. So coming back to my drawing, I'm going to do the copy command, and I will copy this. I'm actually going to copy that whole entire bottom. Anywhere for a base point, I'm going to bring it up 0.25, and I'll go ahead and draw from this point. I'm going to bring a line back here, 0.5, bring it down 0.25 again. And what I'm going to do now is just draw a line. Do F5, and I'll just make it bigger than it needs to be. So I've got this whole shape coming up 0.25, and then I'm bringing it in 0.5, and I'll draw one little line coming right here where this intersection is. There's going to be a little cutout there, so I'll bring it down 0.25. And I'll go ahead and trim what I don't need to see here. Actually, before I trim, let's do one more copy, because we're going to end up seeing this line twice. So from here to here, and then I'll just trim out everything that I don't need to see. To make this a little bit easier, the lines that I know that I'm going to keep, I'm going to go ahead and make those hidden. Put those on the hidden layer. It's going to make it a little bit easier to see what all I need to trim out here. And again, just to look at the picture so we can see what we need to trim, we're going to trim out this top piece right here, and then we're going to trim out that bottom piece down here. So back to my drawing, I'm going to start the trim command. I'll trim this. I'll trim these back. I'll trim this piece out, and I'll actually just erase these lines here. Trim that little piece off right here. And I've actually got a visible line. It's a little bit this tiny little piece right here is visible, so I can either use the break command or draw a new line and then trim the hidden back. I'm going to get fancy and use the break command. So I'm going to do this, break at point. I will select this line. It wants to know where to break it, and I'm going to break it at this intersection. So I just broke this long line into two separate pieces. I'll take this tiny little piece and I'll put that back on, I don't know what layer I was on. It should be the visible or ISO layer. So that's it. I've got that slot taken care of. It's fully drawn, and there's technically a slot on the other side, but just the way that we're viewing this, the angle, even if you tried to draw it, you wouldn't actually see it back there. So we're just going to leave it at that, and I am completely done with the toe stop base.